Hello and welcome, episode 49 of Let's Talk Tactics. I'm your host, Zach Bro.
Hey, I'm Dan.
And unlock.
And we are going to, once again, play catch up this week, turboing through all the releases and updates so we can talk more about the class match. We'll give the respect deserved by the units that came out, though. We're not going to go through that fast. However, something that doesn't reserve that much or deserve that much respect, it's kind of funny. Producer's bow tie. We'll start off with that. This item is hilarious. It's a free thing we all got. Do you have to upgrade it? I guess you do have to upgrade it. It has like a HP scaling, but it's a bit of a troll, and I wonder. It's very clearly a conscious message to the player base that the producer's bow tie increases your hate, and that is a pretty I respect it. It's a bold sort of like jab at the community, but at the same time like jab at themselves. And I think it's really funny. The luck is interesting. I'll be curious to see if you guys have a kind of a theory about that. And actually, I would say the luck is nuts. Like plus 77 luck. Oh my god, evade. But it's got negative 30 evade and negative 99 dex, so the accuracy is not really that much better or anything. It's got minus 5 accuracy, in fact. Some 38 crit rate for. I wonder if that number is significant. I haven't like Illuminati'd my brain enough to like think of like what are the deep meanings behind some of these numbers. But if you guys have any thoughts, Daniel, start with you.
Honestly, all I know is that this was like a troll by like What of Dash Calc, like back in the day. I think it was like an April Fool's joke or something. So the fact that they actually like incorporated it, like either they like somehow data mined it. I'm honestly questioning myself at this point. I thought it was just something created by the player base, but um um it's got passive hate on it as an accessory.
Um, I actually like it on my new account because I don't have Vow of Love yet, so I'm just using this and faith farming with it. So
But you don't have what with it?
the Vow of Love. So I want to increase the
Oh,
faith,
that's
right?
hilarious.
So it's
Nice.
like yeah. So I'm just equipping this on whatever unit I want to raise the faith value of, and then have Fina raise faith. Yeah.
That's fun. Actually, the I guess nice side effect of that is you could like put a JP vision card on that unit instead or something to get just like some incremental JP gains on the units in that party. But we're grasping at straws for the usefulness of this thing here. I guess the decrease of move is interesting too. I wonder if there's ever going to be an application for like hyper programmed AI to where you can't have them move within the range of something to make something work. And maybe this will be useful, but I mean, I just appreciate I think the main thing here is the hate up producer's bow tie name. They're obviously saying that hey, we know you know we've taken some flack. Maybe we deserve some of it, maybe we don't, but here's a little fun along with it. And I guess alongside that, we can talk about the producer's jacket, which is a little more useful. It has 500 HP, which is pretty sweet. 10 defense, 10 spirit, nice and even down the middle. 15 crit avoid, again, one of the most lackluster stats, but I'm sure there's incremental benefits that we don't get to notice, but that we get to reap the benefits of. But with the passive effect of acquired JP 50%, which is pretty cool. This sort of thing is nice for new units. It's nice for doing the JP quest. It's just a little bit extra value each time you do a run. I don't think there's a whole lot to say. Do either of you have a thought on it? You can just kind of interrupt each other if you do, but I don't think we have a whole lot here.
I'm just curious what the thought process was behind the equipable jobs. Like I was trying to find a trend on
Oh, true.
like what jobs made it versus which ones didn't. And I was starting to think it was like vanilla like launch characters and then like I don't know special like collab or limited units, but I don't think that tracks. So yeah, it's just it's interesting. Maybe that's just all of the cloth users or something.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Like I thought everyone who can wear cloth could use it.
It says type cloth on it, yeah, so maybe that's it. I don't know if there's like more to it though, or because there's like, do warriors just wear everything, kind of like lancers?
Yeah,
Is
Mont can wear everything.
okay,
Like the original Mont, yeah.
okay. That's a interesting one. It's kind of weird they didn't make that just a universal, but I guess it is armor. It's like the arm, like the blue. I know.
Yeah.
I hate that like armor is an armor type. You know what I mean? Like it's not plate, it's not heavy armor, it's just armor. So when you talk about armor items, but they could be cloth, like anyway, throws me off. We know what we're talking about though. This is an armor slot item, but not armor quality, I guess.
Yes.
Anyway, let's just move on to Lara Croft here. So lock it if you want to talk about her a bit.
Sure. So I like the character. I think she's powerful. She brings a lot of unique stuff. First of all, she can be built as an evade unit, while still having like the range of Frederica because she has both gunner and ranger sub jobs. So she gets access to the passive of concentrate and range allure. Put them together, you get +3 range. And then she also has access to in the gunner sub job the aimed fire buff, which gives you an additional range. But if you don't like that, you can also just put her own accessory, Lara's backpack, on it, which gives additional range for 3 turns and has 2 casts as well. All of this I'm trying to say is that basically she can match the range of Frederica. She has like an insane amount of range, and she also has barrage and sharpshoot. So which is kind of what Frederica does mostly anyway. Now she has like more useful skills, but she can match the skills of Frederica, and at the same time, she's also can be built for evasion. In the what is it like within her passives, she has Ace Adventurer, which increases evasion rate by 20, and then in one of her skills, Double Bullets, it's a 200 mod skill, but it also increases evasion for herself by 25. If you're looking at the luck stat, she has 257 luck. This is not as high as some of the other like evade kind of units. It's actually so she's ranked 14th right now in the index. But still, I mean that's pretty high. It's about like Venera is like 265, so she's at 257. So I mean it's about the like same ballpark. It's still pretty high. And with the card that just came out, so she has the 35 luck for water units, and it also increases missile attack. Yeah, it increases missile attack by 35 as well. So so those are the 2 things I talked about. Basically, she can do a lot of like long range damage from afar, and she has 35 luck, which increases her evade and accuracy. So as a unit, like this makes sense. I think she's very strong, but in the context that like we're kind of mostly talking about CM, right? And usually when I think of CM, I'm like, can the team that I'm building fight Frederica? That's pretty much the first question I always ask, because Frederica and Cloud Lightning, they're always around, right? And so in the context of CM, like whatever team I build, I'm like, I have to have an answer for Frederica, or else I'm never going to build a streak. That's pretty much what I say when I build a team. And I just don't see how Lara can kind of fit there unless it's like, minus, plus missile resist 50 to everybody or something. But then she also does like weak damage because everyone has 50 missile attacks. So I think it's gonna be kind of hard to use her. But there's a card coming out like much later on. There's a water vision card coming out that gives lightning resist to everybody and missile resist to everyone. So once that card comes out, maybe like units like her might be a little bit more viable. And also like evade is nice because like something like I don't know, like wind evade or something, or earth evade might still be able to fight a wind team that can't hit you. But most of these like lightning teams either have very high accuracy like 9S because they have the assault field buff, or they have guaranteed hit like Frederica and Cloud. So evade is nice, and like especially on a unit like this that's like very long range, you have to like work yourself to get up there, and then when you finally get up there, this is like permanent reflex if you keep missing, basically, right? So it's like as a unit she makes sense. It's just the element that she's on, which means that she's probably going to be one shot by like sharpshoots, and I mean then it's like it's just going to be hard for me. I can't think of a case where I would just want to use her in class match. So I mean I did pull her because I got lucky and I did like a 1 pull and happened to land her, so I said okay, and then I just left her at level 79 because that gives me the 160 shards, and I don't really have any plans of building her because I mean she's nice, she's cool, and it's nice to have like an evasion unit that does like missile chains and everything, and especially she would work really well with Winter Victor as well. Both of them together, and the card on them, like the Lara Croft's card would affect both of them, and like they will do great. But against Frederica teams, like I think that's the worst counter that I can think of. Like if I'm fighting, if I'm an Earth team and I'm fighting Wind, I can still with like good play, I might have a chance to win. But if it's like water against lightning, I just I almost like give up. I'm like I don't know what to do.
it,
So
it it's something I find myself saying a lot, and I kind of want to check myself in that you can't just say because there's an existence of a counter, something can't be good.
mhm.
But when that counter is also a very high percent likelihood of being what you are actually matched against, like Frederick is on mixed teams, Frederick is on like Quicken teams, Frederick is on Mono Lightning teams. She's all over the place, especially with Cloud, because so many people pulled for Cloud and enjoy Cloud and just have him for either specifically for live PvP or just because they wanted him and now they're using him in live PvP. It, it's really a liability to be a water unit, and it's so unfortunate because water units are they have some of the most interesting job combinations. Sometimes I feel like
I think so too.
I
Yeah.
love Winter Victra. Like she's a
Mhm.
fantastic combination of skills, very interesting. Lara Croft is really cool. Obviously, she's super like laser focused. She's all these gunner missile jobs.
Mhm.
But again, it's such an unfortunate reality that Frederica not only is lightning, but also is kind of the marquee, like, can your evade team beat Frederica because she has sharpshoot and she's a ranger, and that's like one of the main skills that, you know, evade units
Mhm.
need to worry about besides like holy, but we barely even see like cast time holies these days. But yeah, she's water with a low HP pool, and her main thing is kind of evasion, so what it's just this
Yeah.
awful combination. Like, what's her missile? I guess she has 15 missile resist. Woohoo! But the lightning advantage is going to shred through that. So it, yeah, it's a really tough sell here. That's like you were saying. I think your Earth example is perfect. Like your Zazan was one that I'd be against a like win team, especially like 2B was a big problem. But I was like, there are ways I get around this, and I don't just auto lose. Frederica versus Lara Croft, I don't know how that's gonna go. Like, I don't know how that's gonna go in Lara's favor, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it's the same thing with Cloud too. Like I don't think
sure.
you even need Frederica. You would just like probably Cloud, and I think a lot of people have Cloud, and I kind of see that staying for a while, even when like other Earth units are released. I think this will still be popular. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's really all I have
sorry.
to say, really. But yeah, you guys can jump in if you guys have comments on Warcraft or yourself.
So I built her. I have her at 115. I think Lara is going to be a powerful choice for a water unit if you have the chance to pick your opponents. So like arena or like tournaments where like you can have them on your lineup.
And Daniel change.
Okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, because Lara is she can't really stand up to like these powerful lightning units. You're pretty much gonna have to rely on being able to pick your opponents more often than not. So, I mean, arena and like the tournaments that like are run by the player base where you can like you have like a selection of units on your team and you can pick which ones and try to anticipate like what your opponent's using. Maybe she can shine there. I think she is a really like one of the most powerful water units, but it's a really big shame that she can't really deal with the guaranteed hits and the accuracy from her her opposites, you know.
I wonder if there'll ever be an effect, like either a team wide buff or a self buff that's like removes guaranteed hit from incoming attacks for 3 turns or something. So like you can buff it to where anything that would be guaranteed hit would then be, it would just have a like a normal accuracy that is then affected by evade and other effects like that. I don't know that that would be good for the game, but I wonder if it will ever exist.
Like
And then
reflex.
you can
That's what I was thinking.
Woo! Yeah, so it'd be an interesting effect to be like, oh, sharpshoot doesn't work on this unit, or holy doesn't work on this unit. You gotta like, do it the hard way. Just an anecdote from the class match though, talking about her evasion. One of my matches, I think it was yesterday actually. was against my guildie who had a mono water evade team, and he had the max water evade that you could with vision cards, at least the like with mono water vision cards, which I think it was the Kraken. Is it flat 10 evasion?
15.
15. Okay, so he had the 15 evasion there, and he had the Lara Croft card. Laura Max, he had Titus on the team. Or Titus, sorry. And so I had recently switched my Barrett to have, an Alexandrite ring, and I'm sorry, not Alexandrite ring. I switched his passive to the 20 accuracy passive. I respect my Odin because I'm an idiot and didn't have the accuracy on it. And then I also had the Moogle card on the team, the Winter Moogle, which has 18 flat accuracy. Before that, Barrett was like 2% to hit on units like 2B or like Ketone and UR Zazan. After that, he was up in like the maybe 70s, 80s for a lot of the time, unless they evasion buffed, and then maybe they were down whatever that buff is. A buffed Lara was 100%. So I don't know what happened there, but there was either an illusion buff or something. It wasn't illusion, but does she has that ability we were just talking about, right? That gives her the 25 evasion. She did
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
and I still had 100% to hit with my Barrett. There were no buffs beyond what I was just talking about and all the gear, which is a lot of accuracy gear, but compared to other evade units, it was 100.
Yeah, she should be competitive as an evade unit. I don't understand what's going on there, but
You remember that,
yeah, I
right?
guess
Like I had 100% to hit, and I was like, "Oh, look at that!
yeah,
Whatever, boom."
yeah. I
Sure.
guess we'll have to see in the coming, I don't know, months or whatever, how much she gets used.
I think. Actually, you know what it was? He had an unmaxed Nivlu TMR. I think he has it like most of the way level, but not quite maxed
15.
yet. That's what it was. Yeah, 15 is what he said. So that's what the buff was. Anyway, just an anecdote that's kind of like another like shrug
Yeah,
kind of about
we'll see like how much evade that she was built. Like I don't know, what he had her set as. Maybe she didn't have like her
true.
evade stuff on or something. But yeah, I think from what I've seen, she can be a competitive evade unit. So yeah, as long as she doesn't run into guaranteed lightning hits,
Right.
I think she'll be just fine. And actually, I think she's better than the usual gunner stuff. Like her range heights on like almost all of her skills. Well, I want to say almost all. Like the ones that I noticed, at least, they're all like range height 2 for like pew pew. So that was pretty cool. That's refreshing. And yeah, I guess they just changed her normal attack from like a water elements like missile attack to just like every the
Oh, it was a
regular
mistake.
missile attack. Yeah, so no more water chains with normal attacks. That's unfortunate.
What was it? The range height F2 for all the pew pew. Is that basically what you just said?
Right.
I like that.
That's the way I see it in my head.
Real quick, running down the rest of the vision card, we mentioned, or Locke mentioned the missile attack and the luck, which are kind of like the two main draws to it. But stats wise, it's 310 HP, 140 attack. Decent on both. The attack's like on the middle-ish low end compared to other things we have. But 52 dex is really nice, and 3 agility. I mean, putting 3 agility on a unit who already has pretty high agility is pretty sweet. Then it has, for water units, 10% attack percent. 10% attack percent. Jesus. 10% attack, 10% or 10 crit damage. I'll just keep saying percent on everything because my brain wants to say it. I don't know why. Specifically for Lara, gives an additional 5 evasion, which kind of counteracts her concentration. So that's cool if you want to use that passive. And then the crit rate of 10 as well. And then for the party, an additional 8 spirit, which is kind of cool. I guess if you don't happen to be against lightning sharpshoot, but you're against a magic holy user, that'll help a little bit. So, really solid card. I think the bestowed effects, since we have like 4 of them, they're all kind of the 5 to 10 whatever middle range. But having a 35% luck for water now is pretty cool. So, and the missile obviously. Moving on though, talk about her pistols real quick. I'm a bit confused. So her pistols give you crit rate and crit damage, 15 and 20 respectively. Obviously equipable by gunner jobs. The attack is lower than Ras Al Gethi. It has -3 agility like Ras Al Gethi. The magic and HP are irrelevant like Ras Al Gethi. The assault version has less accuracy than Ras Al Gheti. The crit rate is 12. I struggle to see a reason outside of when people say auto attacking for crits for more AP or something when I would use these over Ras Al Gheti. Do either of you have thoughts contradictory to that, or I'm struggling here? I guess Daniel, if you have first.
Um, all I know is that when I've been using her, maybe it was because of even like her auto attack being like water elements, she's been doing tons of damage, at least in PvE stages, like significant damage. And I haven't even used her dual pistols yet. I'm still like building them slowly, like 5 levels a day or something. Um, but she's critting a lot, and I think for any unit, especially like a ranged unit, that maybe high dex or whatever, like the units that crit a lot, it's almost always beneficial when you can increase the crit damage and like get away with it. Like there's no like compromise or anything for the increased crit damage. Um, I Since I'm building them slowly, like I can't really say for sure whether the crit damage increase um, and the percentage that she crits is comparable to like the increased damage from the increased attack on Ras Al Gheti, like the assault version. But I'm looking forward to testing that out because I think it will be comparable, if not superior, especially because there's a passive increase to the critical rate. So like stacking stats on different gear. Like maybe the 12 crit just from the equipment stat will get reduced, but the passive won't. So I think she's going to crit a lot, and having that increased crit damage might compensate for not using Ras Al Gheti. We'll see.
Actually, I guess now that you say that, so crit damage, does that come after most other calculations and like before bravery or something? Or is it like a modifier after all the damage? Because I guess if your multipliers are high enough, the 15 missile attack, say you're on a 165 mod, like a barrage or sharpshooter or whatever, I forget what has 165, but so say that's basically 180 versus taking an extra 20% of the 165 when you do crit. I guess that's
I
more than
think
15. So that
I think the crit damage modifier is just the same as any other modifier. So if you crit, you get like so missile attack is plus 15 is a modifier, right? So the crit damage is instead of plus 15 is plus 20. So the 165 would go to 185.
Oh, I thought it was 25 increase, but I didn't know that. I
Well,
don't
so,
remember
so
the
you are right.
rules.
It is a 25% increase, but I mean for this weapon, it's an additional 20, right?
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So so I mean yeah. So you get when you crit this, it's 25 more, and then using this weapon over the Ras Al Gheti, you get plus 20 to the modifier, whereas the Ras Al Gheti would give plus 15. So I mean,
so
if you're always critting, this would increase the modifier by 5 more than the Ras Al Gheti.
at the
Assuming
cost
that
of like 27 attack, which I think the
yeah,
5 probably wins.
assuming that it's all just like in the same equation and it's not like after the fact or whatever. I'd have to look at the calculations again, unless
Yeah.
people are gonna link them below.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to somebody in the chat or the chat, Jesus, the comment section, kind of correcting us here. I'm also scrolling real quick to see if I can find anything on the spot about crit from the old info page. I don't see anything immediately. It's definitely going to be here somewhere, but I'm not going to sit here and try to like really find it. Oh, I guess damage calculator. So you have like all of these things. Crit, 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 crit. See if I can see like where the calculation is, but oh, okay. So this looks like crit might actually happen after the brave multiplier, which means at the very end.
That's what I was thinking.
That'd be I guess that would be quite a bit then. This crit damage multiplier 25, yeah. Multi hit, main multiplier. Oh nope, nope. Main multiplier with crit. So yeah, it adds additively to the main multiplier. Okay, so
Nice.
okay. So it'll be, yeah, like you said, Locke. Okay, so on crit, it is more. It's a higher multiplier. So okay, I guess, man, I guess if you can reliably crit more than whatever percent of the time is required to outweigh the just flat always more damage. That's good, and I mean it gives you a quarter, right? It's like 12 plus 15. It's a 27% chance extra to crit just from having the pistols. So, I guess I'll have. I guess we'll have to see what happens. Maybe I'll try Barrett with the pistols someday and just like kind of see what he can do with it when he does crit versus the Rosso Gethy and see what the damage numbers look like. But all right. I'll have to put my judgment on pause. On site, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, this seems so useless compared to Rosso Gethy. I guess I hate relying on crits. For the number of times on stream, though, I go crit.
Yeah.
Crit. We're going to gamble on the crit, guys. We're going to gamble on the crit. Leave him at 100
No,
health? Nah,
didn't
we're going to
get
crit.
The amount of
but on
times that you
paper, I'm
didn't
like,
get
nah,
the crit.
man, never doing it. All right. So let's move on to things for this week. I'm going to go through Valna real quick, and then we'll talk about Elena and then into class match. So, all right, is it Valna or Veln? I haven't.
I say Valna.
I have no idea.
I don't remember like from the story.
We can talk.
Even if they had like voice actors.
Call her V. So she
I
gets.
say
She's
Velma.
yeah, there you go. Velna. All right, we'll go with that. All right. So interestingly, it is a UR unit with a weapon TMR. I think that's the first notable thing. A lot of times we don't get that. I think other ones are like what Luartha did. Nope, Ramsey gave a shirt. I can't think of any other units besides her, and then what Corwell has one.
Yeah, he's a bow.
Oh wait, is it all the
There's-
selection units actually?
Yeah, I think so, right? Moraga does
Moraga
Moraga have
gives
an
an
axe?
axe. Corwell has
Yeah,
a
I guess so.
bow. Camillo has. Oh no, Camillo has like an armor piece. All right. Anyway, whatever. It's unusual, not unheard of, to have a weapon TMR for a UR unit. This one gives you accuracy flat 30 for one turn when you perform a critical hit. So I don't know. It looks like that's is that a proc when you do crit, or is it like so it goes to your next turn? Is that kind of what that is? So your next one's more accurate, not like this one's more accurate because it's rolled crit. Okay. So clearly I've given her a lot of thought.
She has a lot of
Yeah, her master ability is defense spend 20, which is just a nice thing to have on there flat. Funny they gave her 8 magic on her light halberd. But anyway, moving into her stats, she has 5 slash resist, -5 pierce resist, 10 strike resist, 10 missile, and -10 magic. Kind of middling across the board. But we do have resistance to the two main sort of typical physical damage types, which are the slash and missile. Negative to pierce, sure. Negative to magic, kind of to be expected for a unit like this, like a Lancer, Dragoon, Monk, very sort of martial jobs. Decent attack pool. In terms of her status resist, she has like blind and I think this is paralyzed and a little bit of petrify. So less feels bads when you get Mustadioed. Happened to me more than once, so I know the feeling. Also, I guess to be noted, because she's a Lancer main job, she doesn't get to wear all the armor. So hat, helmets, cloth armor, whatever. I do like that flexibility within Lancer units. Fairly middle range agility at like 57, and that's including board and everything else. But she does get 8 flat defense, which is really cool. But I'm gonna look at her skills before I keep looking at her stats, because I think those kind of may help us out a little bit more. One of her upgrades from her Lancer job, with her EX, is her Pierce attack goes from just being 15 Pierce attack to agility 20% for 5 turns and attack 40% for 5 turns. So it's kind of like the Energist passive, where it's giving you a bunch of like some of your main stats plus agility for a limited number of turns. Cool upgrade. I mean, just Lancer's one of those jobs that sometimes needs a little help, so
especially since she's number 7 on the attack in the current index.
Is she that high? So wait, let me go back to her stats.
Yeah, like
554.
just under.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just under who?
Just under Zazan, your Zazan and Elda. Elda is actually like number 6, which is weird.
Oh, is he?
But
Also Lancer, right?
yeah. Yeah. So the steroid for 5 turns, it's good. It's crazy, like you would expect from the Energist, I mean, without the guaranteed hit of Detonation Blast.
Which is cool too, because like those sort of things are not buffs because they're passives. So you can have that 40% here. You can buffer with like a 40% attack buff from like a unit's ability and just pump those numbers like crazy for the first few turns, quicken her in, do something. In her main job though, her Nighthawk is upgraded, so it turns into Night Hunter, which we like good names around here, and this is no exception. It gets an increased range from 4 to 5 on flat ground. It would obviously be longer range if she's on higher ground. And the modifier goes up to 165 from 121. A 165 mod for 17 AP is nothing to scoff at. That's pretty good for just like a
barrage
spam
level.
Exactly. Like, yeah, you're just barraging. I mean, one unit, but I mean, especially if she's high up. I mean, she just gets to snipe people. Then her other upgrade, so it's her passive in that ability, but then her EX skill is Charge Formation that restores CT for herself, and it looks like it says for ally, not self, so she has to choose one. It's in a like a one range cross, but it's not an AoE. It's just on one target. But it increases CT by 250, well, which is 25 on the bar we have in game. That's an interesting one. The fact it's one cast, I guess being able to spam it might be too powerful, but I wonder what sort of setups this could lead to, because like King Mont has one for himself that's 25, right, or 28, somewhere in that range. I forget the exact number. With a Kalem's Pride that has definitely been useful before. So being able to do it to another unit along with herself, especially if she's doing a lightning element team with someone like Frederica or Nivlu who are really fast, maybe this is something that can enable some really cool plays. But there's nothing like horribly remarkable, but I do think she's an interesting unit for sure. Like I said, I definitely haven't given her a whole lot of thought yet. I'm just kind of covering her because I don't really have a lot else to talk about this week, to be honest. So, do you guys have any other thoughts on her from what you're seeing? I know Lancer's kind of one of your pet jobs as well, and she's got Monk. So, are you kind of thinking about it at all, Daniel? Or
Monk is kind of dead nowadays. A friend and I have been kind of challenging each other over the past year or so in terms of farming gill snappers. I don't know if you guys know him. His name is Sobi.
Okay, yeah.
From like Twitch chat and stuff. But basically the professional stage is you just run it with like UR units. You don't really use mug teams anymore. You can't, like, as far as what we've seen, you can't mug the XL versions of the gill snappers. So mug is kind of lackluster nowadays. So yeah, I'm not really too excited about that. But like you said, I mean, like, we've both used Mana Strike to our heart's content, and so it's always gonna. I mean, like it's main job Lancer, so you can't use Dragoon or Monk. But overall, I think she's a really cool character. Like having like two spear jobs, like kind of allows her to do she's not more versatile in the sense she only has like the one attack type unless you put her on Monk, obviously, but like giving her jumps as well as like Lancer things, it's overall like a cool dynamic. And I think with how she can crit and like how high her attack is, I think she will do a surprising amount of damage if she can actually hit. And I can't really say what her accuracy is going to be like. I think that's one thing we always have to worry about, especially nowadays. So no guaranteed hits. It's kind of a bummer, but it is cool to see her as a character available. So that's me.
I guess noting her high attack value, she does have Store in the Monk sub, which is always an enabler for silly output, as we've seen with like double quick and Cecil or other bullshit things we've done with Store in the past.
Wonder how high we can push her attack. Somebody got Stern at some point up to like over 2K, I think, somehow. So yeah, I wonder if she can reach that with like her steroid and Store and stuff. Maybe not.
That'd be a fun one to try out. Lock, anything for Valna?
Nothing really stands out. I mean, she's a free unit. I'll probably eventually get her once I also start to do the Moraga quests because I still haven't done them. But
fair enough.
But at some point, yeah. I mean, like, so what I really like about her is for my noob account because, like, these units are obviously going to be like very helpful, and I think they also changed the quests so that you can start using these units in the quest as well. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's either the change is coming soon because that's how it is in JP, or it already is here. So for like a a noob account, like why not? These are nice units, and I've seen Camilo in CM before. I've obviously seen Moraga, and I can see some interesting things with like Keenblade plus uh, her like job 25 skill, because that's like what 50 from Keenblade and then 25 from this skill, so that's 75 CT to you can have like one unit with the Keenblade and her next to them and do like a King Mount Rush or something. That could work. Um, yeah, I mean nothing else besides that one skill I think is like really interesting. But yeah.
We love our CT manipulation here as the live PvP people. So anytime I see that, there's always shenanigans to be had, right? And I do think that like a team with, like you're saying, with Keenblade, Kingmont, and her specifically, Keenblade on a different unit could be really interesting because he can pump his own CT up in preparation and kind of like get a full CT bar from his, then her, then Keenblade. So could be cool. But if we're done talking about her, real quick, I'll cover the Eterna Puritas, which is the Freya VC. So we have another Mono Ice VC, which it always excites me. 371 HP, which is decent. It's actually pretty good. 5 flat defense. Loves, like I've said, I love defense, spirit, agility, any kind of those stats on vision cards. You don't see them as often, although more frequently nowadays. 120 magic, nice to have. On bestow for any ice unit, we get hate 5, and then HP percent 10, which is kind of like a Fenrir, which is really cool. I know sometimes I use Fenrir to maximize HP on units, so I mean, hey, good to have. Then Freya specifically, and these are both pretty exciting, gets 10 accuracy, which isn't a ton of accuracy, but that is one of her weaker points, or has been in the past. As well as missile resistance 10. If I recall correctly, she doesn't. Her resists are kind of weird and all over the place, but that does put her up to 15, just like with the vision card in that, which is, I mean, it's better than 5 because again, we talk about live PvP, we talk about missile units, always welcoming to see the missile resist, but more importantly, in her party effects, she gets or the ice units, sorry, get 20 slash resist. So we finally have that for ice parties, as well as wind resist by 10. Sure. Just kind of double down on the already advantageous resistance. But then a really interesting party ability, which or maxing, sorry, party ability from maxing the card. Which is 40 defense debuff resistance. So what just a recap, these debuff resistances that people get are, like, if you think about something that's like minus or decreased magic 39%, it always hits if the ability hits, or sometimes if it's applied before. There's no, like, you can't dodge it, it just happens. It's not like a status effect, but debuff resist will make it so that it's now 60 if subtracts 40 from the 100. So kind of weird, especially because it's a Freya VC. She's not known for her physical tanking, even though she can kind of do it because she has a large HP pool. What do you guys think about this card?
I'm not impressed.
No.
So yeah, like
It's a
I
weird
mean, we got
one.
it for free, so I
Yeah.
have it, but I never thought about like maxing it. I mean, there are a lot more like better ice cards that I haven't maxed anyway, and this one just seems too situational. I mean, the slash resist is nice, but I mean, I probably just use the what is it, the Solidus one, because that probably covers it for, and I don't just need an ice party. The other two party effects just doesn't seem like, it's just way too situational to actually make use of, unless in the future we have a lot more of these units that decrease defense. But right now, like I think Venera is a common one. Whenever Orlando gets his EX, I guess might be another common one. But yeah, not really impressed right now.
Yeah, defense, like, debuffs are annoying and they're powerful when they they're used, but it's just not super duper common. And like you're saying with the slash 20 is good. Solidus also does it for everybody. And I guess with Fryavia's EX, that kind of gave her just a free 20 slash resist on one of her most used passive, Providence of Wind. This does put her up to a positive 35, which is nice. But again, Mono Ice is I love my Mono Ice cards, but this is definitely not super thrilling. I'm probably gonna max it because tools in my toolbox. But Daniel, any thoughts?
I think somebody from my guild said that this card really, well, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he said that it makes Freya shine more as a tank. And maybe that's simply just from the passive, like the 5 hate for the bestowed effect. I trust his judgment more than my own because my Freya is still at 79, and like I only picked her up like from the most recent one, like the banner that she was released on or was re-released. Um, I mean, yeah, it may not be great, but if you need her to tank, or if you would like her to tank, honestly, I think this is a card to have in the party, especially if you're using mono ice. I'd be hard pressed to pick Solidus over this if you're using like at least 2 ice units, because this obviously helps out a lot more than just like the 20/res. So I'm not gonna say it's a bad card, but definitely situationally useful.
The only counter argument to that is that in her EX, she was given free hate generation on her
Yeah, yeah,
typically used magic barrier. So while granted having a turn 1 hate buff is nice because it can really fuck with your opponent's AI in either guild battles
exactly.
or arena in terms of live PvP stuff. Well, I guess if we're talking about
Yeah,
hate, yeah, we can just ignore live PvP in general. So
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Like,
So
to make her better as a tank,
yeah,
like to
maybe
have
as a
that. That's
PvE
a
tank.
rating.
It could change their movement, but she's generally going to start with attract barrier, move up, which there's 12 hate there. So I feel like the hate is one of those stats used as a detriment except for those who want it, right? So like there's some cards that say -5 agility or -5% agility, -5 defense, whatever, as like the penalty, but sometimes you just don't care about it, or minus evasion. Um, this one's used as a benefit specifically for her, but again, it's just not it. I feel like we didn't get the power to compensate for that for anyone other than her, and on her, it's not even like my first choice for vision cards. So it's just really, 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 really weird.
Maybe Agrius or something.
That was another thought I had. So she doesn't have to drop taunting blade. So like maybe that's I don't know. I have a funny feeling though, if and when Agris gets her EX, she's gonna have a way to generate hate just
You
like on a
think?
stick on a TP skill or something.
Where's that
So-
feeling coming from? I don't understand. So that is being transmitted.
you have no idea? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, something you do have an idea of. Take us into Starlight Elena. Or Elena, sorry. Daniel.
Oh, sorry,
No, no.
my headset cut out.
No, you're good. Oh, I said, speaking of things, I said, things, what I say? Oh,
Things
things
that
you
you
do
do
have
know.
you do have an idea of bringing us into Starlight, Elena, or Elena.
You guys, I'm really cutting it short on time. Is there any way we can save Elena for next week and her card and stuff, and just talk about class match real fast? I'm keeping people awake.
Sure.
Sweet. Okay. Sorry to have another thing to edit.
Nope. So actually, due to time constraints, we will actually save Elena for next week, which gives us a little bit of time to use her. I think there's a lot of nuance to her kit, and there's a little more evaluation I kind of want to do, and I have some guildies who'll be able to help with that as well. So I think we can give her the respect she deserves next week. So we do have class match to talk about. So let's jump into that. Daniel, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. I started off strong. In the sense that I slept through my first day's matches. So
Fantastic.
I totally missed like the first 5 matches, and so that felt pretty bad. But from that point forward, I got a 22 win streak. Using my favorite like wind evade team, Corwell, Tifa, 2B. I didn't want to abuse double quicken this time. I wanted to just have fun and play the team I like to play, and eventually that only carried me so far, just because we're seeing so many lightning teams So many Clouds, so many Federicas. I would say my win rate against that team in particular is maybe 50%, which I'm pretty proud of because of how many like sharpshoots that they can get off. Like against my Wind of A team, it just depends on my opponent and who they choose to target. But I don't think I'm going to make top 100, but I might make it to gold 1, and I'm pretty happy about that because, as I'm sure we're all familiar, each season or each class match, like you rank down by 1 rank or whatever at the start. So, obviously get as high as you can. So, yeah, really frustrating. Multiple reflexes almost every match. So. Almost all of my losses were to getting reflexed. Shout out to Strife for being one of the only opponents I matched up against who actually outplayed me. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that.
Everyone else, you suck. No. Yeah, I've definitely had Curry reflex a couple times. But.
Actually, I think so I won against Woodstock wins. I was Woody, but I was more referring to losses.
Woodstock loses. No. Shout out to Woody, excellent player.
All right, guys. So I have to take off a little bit earlier than anticipated. So I've been Daniel Boone, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks.
So now that we have been abandoned by Daniel Boone, we will continue on. No, I'm just kidding. He's got some stuff going on, which is all good. So we will hold it down here, dive into our CM experiences. So I was checking the auto level. For some reason, it looked weird. Yeah, let's talk about, we'll go to one of your accounts, unless they kind of tie into each other. Then we'll bounce back to me and then back to you. So
They don't tie in. So.
They don't tie in? All right, cool. Let's talk about your mains experience.
Sure. So I forget where I started off because I changed my teams 3 times. And I think I started using like UR Zazan and Aerith, and I forgot the third one. That was I think it was actually I have no idea. I forgot who the third unit was, but that's what I started it. And the very first day I talked about that account like last week, last Wednesday, and then I wasn't planning on using Cloud on my main account because I was going to use it on my other account, but I wanted to see if like Triple Lightning could or just Cloud with like 2 Quickeners could still fight against these Earth teams. So for one day I did Cloud and Nivlu and Aerith, right? So it was double Quicken Cloud, and I did my only loss that day I think was to an Earth team. But I still think that Cloud was able to handle it because I think Cloud did like 2 sharpshoots, and if I crit on the second sharpshoot, I would have killed Ketone, but I didn't. And Cloud like never not crits. Right?
Speaking of crits,
yeah, and I got my momentum and everything, and at that end, he was off by like 100 HP because he didn't crit. And then it was the very first turn as well, and my opponent's Phoebe goes like dead last, and he just used Marshary's TMR, and Ketone just went back to full health. So I was like, crap. And now she has a shield, so I'm like, I can't come back from this. But I mean, I tried to play, but I couldn't. And then so the next day I switched over to Summer Lilith and UR Zazan and Aerith. And that team was really interesting, and it was like really hard for people to fight against. And I think this was the team I talked about last last Wednesday as well. So there's like 2 Immortal Spirits, 2 Re-Rays, and then there's a guaranteed hit barrage, and there is it's just a really hard team to deal with. I think there was one loss. The loss was against Lex 13, I think his name is. He played this like super evasion team, and he like landed every single status effect he could on me somehow.
Seems good.
Yeah, but like even stuns, like my units were just like stunned over and over with like 25% chance to stun, and I run all my units at like 50 faith. But anyway, I mean, it's still it was a very hard team for me to deal with. I probably would have lost anyway, but not for the stuns. And then I wanted to try I wanted to change my team up a bit, and I switched out Summer Lilith for Ketone. And my Ketone was actually like level 99 all this time. I actually 120'd her one day, and like raised up her resonance and everything that day. And I found Ketone to be like insane in this class match because that 20 AoE resist, she also has a single target resist of 20% on her mastery or on one of her skills.
Mhm.
And then like with the right setup, I had like 40% single target resist on her, 45% AoE resist, and then with Utsemi that's like an additional 40 evade, and I had the luck card on them. I didn't even go offensive. I just went like accuracy, but with the accuracy with luck you get a lot of evade as well.
Right.
So I don't know. It was like insane. Like it was really hard for people to take her down unless. So I mean, I'm not used to using Ketone, right? So I think one of the first few matches I had everyone starting early, like uh, more forward, and somebody just like sniped my Phoebe, and like I lost the momentum, and she didn't even get to shield. Oh, and I also have a shield, so with all that resistances, you also have to break the shield and everything. So I found Ketone just like insane. I think I would rate her the most powerful unit for the CM. That's my opinion. Because I just think that it was just so hard to like kill her. You can stack other things like protect and stuff on her as well, right? And she has a ton of evade, and whatever mitigation everyone else has, it doesn't matter for her drain force.
True.
So I feel like she's just able to cut through everything. And I think, in my opinion, I think that's why she was like so powerful. At least that's what I felt. And then like Zazan, I mean, he didn't really do much, to be honest. He was just there to annoy people. And
He was there giving
I didn't
HP and
have
Earth
any
Attack to Ketone.
exactly. Yeah,
He's a vision card.
what is it? That divine grace is really important, you know.
Hey, it's more damage on your drain force, right?
Exactly. That's what I mean. But I mean, shout out to Mako. I think he had the right idea, because I think if I were to rebuild this team, I would, instead of Phoebe, so I used like Ketone, Zazan, and Phoebe. I think I would have chosen to put Zazan instead, like the normal Zazan, because of the Man-Eater buff, which would increase her damage even more with Drain Force.
Oh, true.
And I didn't really quicken as much as as often as I would have. Like I think regular Zazan would have worked just fine. So I think that's like, if I was going to play again in a very similar scenario on the same team, I would probably switch over to that.
I think regular Zazan just runs across this map, doesn't he? Like if he
Yeah.
spawns across from anyone, he just boop goes over, try
Exactly.
charming. Like I actually haven't seen one yet, but that'd be really fucking annoying. Like that'd be horrible. Oh my goodness. He probably goes last, but still, like that's oof.
Yeah.
That's kind of terrifying. Give me
Yeah,
bad thoughts.
not a lot of people are building like charm resist right now, because stop is anything, right? So charm is yeah, you can get people off guard with that. But yeah, I actually lost like once every single day except for the first day and the last day. So I had 6 losses out of 40. And I ended up at 53 at the end of the second window. I hope I stay within the top 100. I think it should be doable. But yeah, that's in a nutshell, I guess that's my experiences.
All right. Yeah, I for the first bunch of days I played well, for the first day I did Rosa, Curry, and Barrett, just kind of on like the let's try out the missile team. And it was actually no, I'm sorry. I don't think I used Barrett. Hold on, let me go to who the hell did I use the first day? I've done Mono Ice the whole time. And I've tried to stick with that to kind of test things. No, I guess it was Curry, Curry, Barrett, and Rosa trying to do missile chains. The build was very forced, kind of like trying to use Rosa and trying to use Curry. It wasn't great. Rosa was very disappointing. Her sure hits were nice, but her damage was very, very low. Curry's AoE being nerfed really sucked too. Like if I hit the frostbite, it was pretty good, and I could kind of like back up from people and they're burning down in their AP. And then eventually they don't have the range to match me, and I could pick them off. But it was not the most thrilling thing. And actually, I'm sorry, it was actually Salir, not Barrett at first. So
Okay.
Valentine Salir. So she was on. I had her on sub Time Mage for the first day, but let's just get past that bad day of I won a bunch, but it definitely didn't feel good. Day 2, however, we switched to what I used until I think 3 days ago, which was Valentine Salir, Barrett, and Curry. Now that team was pretty fun. The Barrett has been extremely surprising this class match. His I spawn him by the crystal on the if you spawn sort of with the like on the bottom of the map,
Mhm.
where you can move to the crystal in 3 move, like with your move
Yep.
3 unit. I have him in that spot. And then actually he's out of affinity range with the other 2 units. He just is chilling there, and then someone can move in range and shield if they need to, or adjust afterwards. And his either going steel skin into crystal or doing his aim fire into crystal has been pretty insane, because turn 2, his catastrophe, his LB with the height of 2 and the range of 7 with the aim fire buff,
Mm.
just snipes anybody in the middle of the map. Like if they're not on the far corner, like the far edge, and they're on the middle staircase or closer, they're probably getting confused, and they're also building a chain to where I can finish them off if I need to. Now that's been pretty powerful. Point blank on units like UR Zazan, just removing their immortal spirit has definitely caught opponents off guard, where they thought they were safe and they were kind of like playing around that 1 life, and nope. Even if they dodge it too, it removes it, which is insane. And Valentine Slayer comes up and just slaps him. But I kept running into the same problem of Curry. Curry could deal damage and he could do some status effects, but because his barrage is so nerfed on this map with the AoE resist, it wasn't really cutting it. I similar to you, I picked up at least 1 loss every day. Sounds like you had exactly 1 loss every day, right? You went 5-0,
Yeah.
then 4 1s all, and then 5-0. So I've had a day where I took 3 losses. It was a really bad
Mhm.
day. I think I had 1 5-0 day in the middle, but like my best streak was like 8. But definitely have not been impressed with my performance. So there was one day I got frustrated. I was like, I love Curry. Like he's actually surprisingly cool. He's got some cool abilities. His Hunter's Distinction buff is awesome. Doing like agility on turn 1 with him and Valentine Slayer enabled some really fast plays. But then we brought Shell in. So the team I'm on now is Barrett, Shell, and Valentine Slayer, with primarily we're running Valentine Slayer up the middle with Katone's TMR and just nuking people on turn 1, because generally my quicken resolves before anybody moves. So I either get to LB somebody and just murder them. That LB, Valentine Slayer's LB max does like 8 to 10k damage just based on almost every unit. Like unless they are super built for magic resist, like they're done. And there were times where evasion units, they had their evasion buff on, but it removes buffs beforehand. So it was like 72%. I'm like, no, it's not. And just use the LB and just died every time. And even with the AoE resist down, her cross discharge, which buffs her magic and does damage, or the sure hit, still really hurt. So there were a couple games where people were grouped in the middle. She just, goes up, grabs the first crystal, quicken, comes down, blasts the team, and then even if she dies on the retaliation, like they're all either low or like one's dead and 2 are, on fumes, and then Barrett just goes in and just like catastrophes them with his LB or whatever. It's been working pretty well. There are definitely a couple games where I misplayed and I could have won. I did have a couple of the sort of like, I feel like there's a list of achievements in the game for live PvP. Some of them are like, transposition somebody into a cool play. Other ones are, I can't think of the other ones right now, but one of them is Sidewinder 2 units in live PvP, and we did that 2 or 3 times now, where I was able to line up either a Quicken to do it, or just even before I had Quicken on my team, seeing these weird plays with Sidewinder that went through 2 units and either got 2 kills or would like get a kill, build a chain, and then be able to finish them with another unit. So that's been really cool. That ability is impressive. But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun using Barrett. I'm glad I was able to use him to good effect. But actually, auto Black Rose Helena is the bane of my existence, because I don't respect them because they're on auto.
Yeah.
But I've lost to 2 or 3 auto teams because it's Black Rose Helena. One of them was Freya Yuna Black Rose Helena with the like garbage VC setup. but I died because Black Rose Helena had 4 lives. Like, it was really silly. I'm like, all right, we'll kill the Freyevia so she can't get the full life. And Yuna walks up like, Yuna's gonna waste the full life on Freyevia. I'm gonna kill the Black Rose Helena while Yuna's doing her thing in the back. Nope. Yuna Kuraga'd the Black Rose Helena. Then then Helena died, rose the Helena, and it was just, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was really embarrassing. Then there was an evasion Helena who was on a team with Shadowlynx and Venera, and I missed a 92%, and then I missed a double hit on a 49%, and I missed something on like she dodged everything. Like, there wasn't even a time where it was even close. It's so sad. That's actually that match, and then another one that came up against evasion was what made me change to the really high accuracy setup I was talking about earlier. We were talking about Lara for Barrett, just so I could, if Valentine Solir died and I was against Evade, the game's just pretty much over. So I had to do something about that, and it's gone a lot better since then. Barrett's been able to handle them. But yeah, Barrett just being like passively pretty tanky, and then on top of that, having his steel skin buff. That steel skin buff's impressive. The 40% attack, 30 defense, and then the AP consumption down is like not a whole lot else you can ask for other than, I mean, aim fire when I need it for the extra range. So been very, very impressed. Valentine Solir does silly damage. Actually, yesterday I had an auto opponent where I went LB to kill one, chi shot to kill the other, chi shot to kill the other, and game was over. It's just 3 shots, 3 kills. Just nice and clean. Really dumb. But yeah, nothing like really sort of like mind-blowing or mind-boggling or crazy to talk about. Just, some cool plays here and there. Like I said, Sidewinder was really fun to use. About it. Let's talk about your noob account.
Yeah, I think the highlight of my main account matches was actually when I was using Ketone and using Drain Force. And again, I'm new to using Ketone and Drain Force, so I would use Drain Force, and then a Reflex would pop up. I'm like, damn it! And then I'm like, wait, no, this will go through. And I was like, yeah, take that.
That's funny. It still procs, like, because it says chance on physical or magic.
Yeah.
So it's weird that it even shows up when you
Exactly,
Cabinet
yeah.
Reflex. That's funny.
Fuck
Yeah,
Reflex. But she does an insane amount of damage, like, with that skill. Like, I most of the time I was hitting for 4k with Drain Force, and she only has 5.8k HP, so that's insane. Like, unless they had Odin's single target resist or something like that,
right?
Or if it's wind, then it's obviously significantly lower because they have 25% earth resist. But yeah, most of the time it was just like insane.
Well, earth advantage or advantage, right?
Yeah, advantage. Yeah,
it actually like plus 10 earth or something. But
well, no. So it's like the unit itself has a 25% advantage, right? To
advantage, yes.
Yeah.
And then
but the resistance is ignored because Drain Force doesn't have a type or element.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a noob account. So I was using Cloud, Aerith, and Charlotte because that's all I had. Built up really. I have Glaciala Regalia at 115 as well, but she doesn't have the vision cards or anything to support it, so there's no real point in using that. So every day, the first day I went 5-0, and then every day after that I went 3-2, 3 wins, 2 losses, like every single day. Yesterday I went 4 wins, 1 loss, and today I haven't played yet. Until yesterday, every single time I met a Frederica, I lost because I just don't have a way of approaching. Like it was Charlotte, like she can take 1 hit, maybe she can even take 2, but she can't reach. Like she has move 4, jump 1, and Frederica will just shoot and run away. Yesterday I won twice against like a Frederica team. Actually won it was Frederica, Cloud, and like someone else. But both times I won because my opponent made a mistake. Like they approached when they shouldn't have, and I had I had a chance to double quicken and get not double quicken but single quicken and get Cloud to a spot where he can like one shot Frederica. So I mean, but I shouldn't have won those because like there really is no way for me to approach it, and I can't just sit there either. If I sit there, I mean, I'm just like I'm gonna be dead.
Plink,
right? There's no
plink,
point.
plink, yeah.
So yeah. Other than that, I mean, there was 1 match actually against Lex 13, actually the same guy I talked about earlier, where I just gave up in the beginning because I'm like, my account can handle this. Like he was running Charm, he was running Stop, he was running High Evade, and I can't handle that with this account. I don't have any of like the tools to handle that. So I was just like, I'm gonna save some time, and I'm playing like 10 matches a day. I don't like
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
fair.
I was just like, okay, Gabe, I'm sorry. um, and then yeah, Charlotte's actually been like really nice, and like just the combination of the things I have available, like with Lightning Strike. So Lightning Strike plus Draver, and then I can just like one shot most units. Like I even do like a significant amount of damage on Earth units, like even UR Zazan.
Mhm.
Usually UR Zazan, I proc his courage and then I run away because like I have haste still on my Earth, and or like I don't know, because I know he can one shot me, right? So like I want to basically it's usually like 1-on-1 or something, and I want I basically just want to win on turns now, because I don't know if I might miss, or like something might happen, or he might one shot me if I get into range. So if I take the other two units out and he's all that's left, I with this account I just ran away, because that's basically the best strategy at that point. And steal time has been really useful on Charlotte as well, because
Oh, okay.
yeah, it confused some people. I was running her thief sub. It confused some people. I mean, like you would, sometimes they would think that they would be able to get a turn in between and kill someone, but I would use like Cloud's Braver, and then I would use Steal Time and get Cloud to go again, and like then he would just do an insane amount of damage with the slash down. So yeah, I mean, overall it's been fun. I made it to gold 3. Um, with this account, I think it's like 20 days old now. So um,
Pretty good.
yeah, it's been fun though. It's like I'm looking forward to doing like the tower this week with the noob account, because now I actually have to like play strategically, right?
Right.
Instead of like auto everything. So yeah, it's fun playing with like a new account, trying to figure out how to tackle these challenges.
I feel like there's a part of me that really wants to do that and like find a collaboration or find a time when it's like, all right, I'm gonna start an account. We're gonna do disciplined rolling until we get exactly the combination of things I want to start with, and then go and like turbo max the things, kind of like you did with, I mean, the units you have, right? Like you just went with Charlotte at a time, right? Because she was featured and easy max basically. I wonder if there's like an upcoming one I would think about doing. Like, what are the collabs coming up? Like Final Fantasy 15, I know it's one. Are there any other major collabs?
Uh,
Oh, Final Fantasy
there's
4.
first coming back, yeah, with
Hmm.
the Goldbergs as well.
Oh, because that's Golbe. I can have a
Yeah.
Golbez noob account. Oh, ho, ho. So in the sidebar, in the Final Fantasy TCG, Golbez is one of my like first decks I played, and I still to this day have like keep a Golbez deck usually built. He's just one of my favorite characters because of that game, and I learned more about him. I've never played the game he's from, but uh I've with what I've learned, he's a really cool character that I enjoy, and he's like one of the first villains we've gotten, for at least
Yeah,
villains
exactly.
outside of War of the Visions that we've gotten in the collaboration. And he's got a really cool moveset. I cannot wait for him to come to this game. He is such an interesting unit. We'll talk about him more when he actually does come out, but maybe that would be a time to start an account. Just do like Golbez and then like Rosa and Kane or something. Actually, Kane and Golbez are both dark.
Yeah.
Anyway, lots of thoughts. Any other thoughts about the class match before we wrap up for this week?
Um, well, something on a kind of negative light. I mean, I think, after the cheating with like Draconian Guild and everything, it just makes it like sometimes you see something happening and then you're not sure if someone's cheating or not. I feel like every time like something unlikely happens, you're like, is this player a cheater? It's just like
Yeah.
something in the back of your head, right? And I mean, I think it's unfortunate, and I don't really know how to like even myself. Like there were like I was playing and I had like Keaton use Utsemi, and then this guy, he landed like every single hit. Like sometimes he could like go to the side and hit, but he would just go straight and hit. I'm like, why? Like, are you having 100% hit rate? Like,
Right.
it's insane. And yeah, I don't know. Uh, I mean, I think like draconian hacks and stuff like that has had a drastically negative impact on the game, just because like everyone is questioning everything now. Um, and then I had like another match where like every time I hit somebody with that had a slow counter, it went off like every single time. I think I hit like 4 or 5 times, and each time it went off. At the last, I was like, I know I lost, and I just like auto attacked the Phoebe at the end just to see if it would proc it. So it was like, I don't know what the chances of this is. Like slow counter does have a high chance at 50, but still, like every single hit, I don't know, you know. So
Yeah.
it just it kind of like makes people question is you know, are these people actually cheating or they are? But I don't know what we can do about that. It's just what it is. I mean, yeah, it's a bit it's negative, I guess, and it sucks, but it is what it is, right? If you, I guess, if we suspect someone's cheating, we can report it, and if a lot of people do, maybe they'll take some action at some point. I don't know, but
Yeah, there's definitely a fine line there between like a potential result of a series of random events and like so statistically unlikely that it starts to look sketchy. Like I remember there was a very vividly, I'm gonna say vividly and then forget details, but whatever. I specifically remember the feeling in a match where it was a complete mirror match. It was an evasion mirror against a player during a class match back on the map, like the map we had for like over a year as our free match.
Mhm.
Uh, it was they had a Catone, I had a Catone, I don't remember it was Catone team evade, might have been yours. I was on 8 days, I don't remember, but all of the percents I had were somewhere between like 40 and 60. So because we both had a lot of luck, right? That's how evade
Yeah.
mirrors go. Sometimes you get the middling values because your units are built similarly, and I think we had the same cards. I missed almost every single attack, like except I hit like one time here and there. He hit every single attack, and we're both buffing. He can't have more of a chance than what I'm seeing on him. And the fact that everything, I'm like, there's that part of my brain that's like,
Right, exactly. That's exactly it.
what's going on here? And this was before the draconian thing specifically,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I had to like talk myself down, like, listen, you know, sometimes you hit them all.
Yeah.
Like my Agrius back in the day when I used her in like class match 2 and 3. You want to know how many stops I hit? Almost all of them, because it's just what happens on coin flips sometimes. I mean,
Yep.
you keep on flipping those 50s. Everyone's an individual result, and you know if it's more or
Mhm.
less likely. So yeah, that it's a sucky feeling to have, but
Yeah.
I definitely understand it.
Yeah, and like same with me. Like I mean, like this slow counter is like 50% chance. Reflex is 15, and that, like even on my account, I had like triple reflex. What is the what's the chance of that, right? But it happens. So I was like, yeah, I mean, this could have been the one time that, you know, all five of those hits or five or six of those hits were a counter. Uh, but it's just, yeah, like I said, it's just a sucky feeling. You just like, you don't know if you're playing someone who's cheating or not, and you
Well,
know,
here's the other thing too. If you don't have 97 faith, it's a 50% chance at 50% to slow. So 50% to activate, and then a
okay,
50% chance that the slow hits, multiplied by
oh,
faith. But
okay.
it's not like a if it procs it slows. Like you can see the animation, but the slow actually doesn't apply. So
Oh, okay. Interesting.
so even worse, if both you and your opponent had 50 faith, so it's actually a 50% chance after the
I had
50%
50. He
chance.
had 70.
Okay, so
He was
it's like
70. Yeah.
a 70 50 is 120, so 60% chance. So we
Yeah.
hit 50 to proc, 60 to hit. Just to dig that a little deeper in, but oh
Yeah. I
man.
don't know.
Anyway, ending on less of a negative note, we will talk next week about the last collaboration is it's Elena, right? That I keep
Yeah.
saying Elena because I think I'm so used to saying Helena. But
Right.
I think I heard someone joked about like the next unit's gonna be like Lena because we have like Helena, and it's gonna just keep taking a letter off the name. Or I guess it could be
And
Ellen
then Ina.
or Ina. Yeah. But we'll talk about her next week because I know Daniel's a big fan. So yeah, hopefully we don't have like a ton of updates next week because I do want to do something interesting. We may be a week delayed depending on I do have some travel plans. So if we don't have another upload the following week for episode 50, the big 50, we will definitely, well, I can try to put some kind of announcement out. I can't on YouTube, but maybe you can announce like,
I can,
hey, if you
yes.
guys if you guys watch the podcast too, then you know, just FYI. But anyway, I've been Zach Bro,
And I've been locked.
and we will see you